Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 30 of Banishers, the one that might, in fact, be the finale of the main story. We're going to find that out together. Before we get started, it was actually the episode before last. Marquak had stopped by, and he had actually cheered 500 bits, and it happened like right alongside a huge raid, and I hadn't seen it. I did send him a message afterwards, but then in the last episode, I forgot to call it out specifically during the episode, so I just wanted to say it again here. Thank you, Marquak, very, very much for that cheer. I always want to make sure that everybody gets recognized for their cheers and subs and anything else, because it means so much. It really does, and I feel bad if I miss it. With that said, and hopefully we'll have a chance to say that directly to Marquak, let's jump into the game. And my memory is that we have one epilogue chapter to do. Again, those tend to be pretty quick. I'm going to check to make sure if everything else is green check marked off, and then it's going to be straight on to the finale. We're gonna be going straight into main story. There it is. Yes, activity available. Now, I think that based on, usually we're not exactly sure which one this is, but this will be the finale towards the twins, which, yeah, I will say again, that was probably, of all of the cases that we've done, probably the most unpleasant one. And that's really saying a lot if you think about it. So early hello to Solid Chrome Hickey, who's saying it's rainy there, but other than that, it's been okay. How about here? It has been much the same. Today is very Banishers, actually, in the weather outside. It's very, well, it's seasonably cold. It's pretty cold, not snowing cold, but very gray. It's one of those days where the sun never penetrates through the cloud cover enough to give you more than like early dawn, and it's just had that sort of timeless quality this whole day. So it puts me in a mindset of like, what if every day was
has been emptied
like that?
The Keens are rolling in their graves.
Maybe the pilferers missed something. Let's look.
Let's rob the rest of their house. Why not? All right, I think that we did see this region map. So this was the tale of the...
A full map, as I always say, is better than half a map.
That depends on where you want to go.
So it turns out that the epilogue here is to go get the treasure that they died... well, she died trying to get before he could go out and try to get it. She got struck by lightning, which is one of those things. Find the treasure. Wait, seriously? Because I may not do this. Unless, let's look at the treasure map together, and we'll see if we can figure it out. No, I want inventory, we want this, we want special items, and we want... Wait, no, it'll be quest item, won't it? Yes, this one. So here's where we're going, which would stand to reason that here's where we are or so. Let's take a look on the main map and see if we can find anything that's sort of north and then very far out to the east. Let's see if we can find anything on the map that looks like that. So, yeah, if we're sort of here, I feel like it's here-ish. High Cave. Windy Cave. It would be super awesome. Well, hold on. Before I despair, can you go to the map from here? I don't think so. I wish I knew what that square was supposed to represent. So... No, this is way the hell out to the east. Let's see if we can find anything that looks like this area here. Unfortunately, it's just like a big amoeba of space, isn't it? So let's look for this big backward C right next to the hand that's coming up out of the swamp muck. Let's see if we can find something on the map that looks like that. Big backward C. I feel like there will absolutely be people that are furiously pointing at the screen There it is. But I don't see anything that looks like a backward C or a hand coming up out of the muck. Boy, I really wanted to do all the epilogue chapters, but I'm not... Hello to Caroluna! Sounds like 80% of the days where Caroluna is. I had wanted to do all the epilogue chapters, but I don't want to look this one up. I feel like if I can't do it... Like, the whole point of this is to decode what this map is. Now, we know where they were going. Like, they were going to the ravine and stuff. Do we remember where that was? That's Jacob's Lean-To. That's not it. Entrance. High Cave. Corrupt Canyon. We found a secret cache there. The other possibility is that the map is of something underground. I feel like, since I don't remember where... I didn't look on the map when we went to go, like, follow them into the cave or whatever. Let me look at this one more time. You guys, this might be the one I don't do. Because I'm not even sure where to get started. So here's our two pieces of the map. I will actually turn to chat, particularly if people are not just looking it up on Google, because, I mean, I could do that. I don't see this. I don't see anything that looks like this. Like, I'm assuming that all of this is land, so all of these, like, blank spaces is gonna be... Well, I'm assuming that this is water. Maybe I'm wrong, but that looks like a big inlet, and then there's another body of water up here. Maybe that's what I should look for? Water on the regular map? I don't know. This could also just be impassable mountains or something where the person couldn't draw, but... So we do have a great big river. And then out here is the mire. They were not going this far east. Wait, is this it? No, that's our quest. That's where we're going after this. This is a big, long water thing coming in. I don't feel like it's quite the same shape, though. I am absolutely stumped. It's one of those things where, like, once we got close enough, I do feel like... So here's what we'll do. Let's go to a couple fast travel points. I'm trying to remember if there was a fast travel point in or around the ravine, and unfortunately my memory is that there wasn't. If we could even pick up the trail of where the twins were going, well, specifically where Edith had gone, then we'd have something to work from. But here... I feel like I could, you know, visit the different cardinal directions and really not find it. But we're going to take a quick look. Let's go to fast travel. Let's go check out High Cave, just because it does sort of feel like that's in the right direction. The question that we have is, does this feel like it's anywhere near a really deep ravine that we had to spend a lot of time trying to get downstairs from? So here's where we are. Here's a long inlet of water. I don't see the... Like, here's a backward sea, but I don't see, like, the hand coming up out of the muck part of it. These are just up and downs. The corrupt canyon. Boy, would I like to just have it slightly narrowed down. I'm gonna look at this map again. Special... Nope. Quest items. This, if this is water, I'm not seeing it on the map. I don't know what that square represents. These might be bridges or something else. Man, knowing the starting point... Because here's the thing, the starting point from right where they lived, that seems a little bit too cute. Why would that be where the original person drew it from? Maybe I'm overthinking that part of it. Caroluna is saying, Caroluna, I think I would absolutely take a hint. I would like to have some sense of where to start. Ironically, well, not ironically, the thing that we could do is look at the VOD from when we did this quest, and then whenever I check the map, I would know where to start, you know, where the ravine was. Because what we'd want to do is retrace her footsteps. I have no memory of what the footsteps were. Hill's old house. That does not ring a bell. I don't have a hint and such, but a question that may or may not change things. Caroluna, I am all ears. Hello to Zoo Hybrid. Hybrid, I hope you're having a great weekend. Oh, he's Zoo Hybrid is going to go show feed or riot. Oh gosh. Unfortunately, I hope you brought your pitchforks. There will be no feed on this stream, but I hope you're having a great weekend. I almost said week. Technically, this is the weekend, at least according to our calendars here in the United States. I don't see anything like this. Hybrid, we're trying to decode an old map, and I'm not seeing the starting location. This is where they found. So if they found the map here, then you might think that they went out here, up here, over here, and that the solution that we're looking for is somewhere in here. Do we have any memory of being over here? Not really. And then I'm slightly up north of here. Is north the right way in both maps? Let's go take a look. That's a good oops. So it doesn't actually specify here, but I would assume based on video game logic that the answer is yes. That would be a curious trick if it wasn't. That square is such a landmark, isn't it? This also sort of denotes that you'd go into a cave right there. You'd go through the cave and come out the other side and then continue to the east. Is this an RPG game or a puzzle game? It is mostly a third-person action game with some medium RPG elements in terms of like your gear and like customizing your combat style, but then there's a heavy emphasis on narrative and narrative choice and sort of like engaging in the story. I am so mystified. If it were go over, up, old watchtower. No, that doesn't feel like where the thing was. Now, hold on. Windy Cave might be near the ravine. Let's go check Windy Cave. Let's just find where the... But this is an example of a puzzle. There have been other treasure maps in the game. However, usually my approach to them has been have the treasure map, and every once in a while, Red or Antea, one of the characters, would say,
"The treasure is close."
Oh, there we go. Okay, the treasure is close. So that's good, and that's why it's not on the map, because this is not on the map. However, assuming that we're here-ish, I don't know from that X, but basically our target in almost all cases is going to be over to the east. So let's see if we can head east. This way. Yeah, with a map like this, and I remember pretty fondly the treasure maps in Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Those were a lot of fun to decode and get through. I really had a good time with those because they would have like a couple landmarks, maybe like the shape of an island or something like that, and you could kind of work your way. Oh, see, this is something new. We haven't tied off this rope. It always felt like it gave you just enough to get started, and then you still felt smart once you actually did it. At least I did. And I'm pretty sure that I got all of those in Black Flag. Those were in the pre-stream years. But yeah, if I didn't say it aloud, I sort of expect that the twist here, if there's a twist at all, is going to be, the treasure was valueless.
Look to me.
Or alternatively, valueless to them. Like, it's going to be like a cache of witchstone or something, so that people who take the time to do this quest, they don't feel robbed of getting something cool at the end. But ultimately, if the twins had found it, whichever one of them got to it, it's extremely valuable to people that aren't them, and also they don't know. Zoo Hybrid is saying that Assassin's Creed peaked at Black Flag. Black Flag is that's a favorite game by a lot of people, for sure. I really enjoyed it. I think I've said this before, but I feel like Black Flag was a successful test case for Assassin's Creed can be basically anything. It doesn't have to be Assassin's Creed 2 and Assassin's Creed 3. It could be on a pirate ship, or it could be on a train like it is in... Well, I definitely hear that. In Syndicate. Gosh, who was it? I think it was Princess Casey was just playing Syndicate. That's a good one.
You shite toughened up.
Look to me.
Crud? Alright. Carol Luna's asking, wasn't Black Flag what Sam Lander had planned to start? I think restart, because he's... Carol Luna, unless I'm missing my Samalander lore, hasn't he said in the past that Black Flag is the one and only Assassin's Creed game that he ever played, and he didn't do the story? He, like, went out and did a whole bunch of, he did all the pirate stuff. That's what he wanted to do. And we were talking a bit about this in Mia's stream.
Standing by.
That is a 100% valid way to play it. If somebody got Black Flag and they played just enough to get into the open ocean and then spent 5 hours or 15 hours or 40 hours just sailing around and doing pirate stuff, and that's all they wanted to do, like upgrade their ship, or like, I do feel like there's certain check beats that are built into the game. I am no longer going east. And yeah, at a little bit of issue is I don't actually know. I was sort of going east. Let's look at our map again, because it really doesn't feel like it's anywhere along here. I don't know. And I was sort of treating like if Foggy Cave or High Cave or Windy Cave, whatever it is there, and it's sort of like you go through the woods. I don't see anything on the map that looks like this. I may just have map blindness, but is it conceivably supposed to be up here? What if it's in here? But then again, he said the map was close to here, not like we're on the right path. I'm gonna turn around, or let's go back to this cave. Oh, hello to Platform Platypus. Thank you so much for the resubscription. Platypus, 7 months. I really appreciate it. How is your Saturday going? So, actually, Platypus, I also had a question for you. I know that App finished the main story of Mass Effect Andromeda yesterday. Was that like it? Does that now represent the conclusion of his time with it? Or is he doing another stream or two to like go around? Because I gotta say, it's been a long time for me since I played Andromeda. I felt like App was catching up on a lot of post-story stuff that was entirely new to me. Okay, so this goes that way. Let me look up here real quick. Because this path angles back to the west. And I want to say that on my map, if we're going to assume that right means east on the map, this feels like we are definitely traveling in the wrong direction. All right, let's go back to the cave. I'm basically going to give this one last shot, and then I think I'd solicit an actual spoiler from chat, and if that still doesn't work, then we will move on. Because I really thought a lot of these epilogue chapters are like, go to this place and have a conversation, and maybe like, I don't know, pick up a sandwich or something, and it gives you closure on that story. This is a full-on, like, okay, now find the treasure that the twins died trying to find. And turns out it's a little unclear on where to look. Solid Chrome Hickey is saying that he thinks that App was planning to start something new on Tuesday. Alright, yeah, I was surprised at how much post-story content there was, like unique dialogue specifically referencing the end of the game as App went around and talked with everybody. So the other thing that's of note is that Red did not announce a second time.
I think this area is similar to the map's instructions.
Okay, I was about to say that
The treasure must be hidden nearby.
Okay, we are definitely getting...
What the hell is this place?
This is no cave. It's a tomb.
Was this it? Hold on.
Well, that was unexpected.
It sounded like he was about to say that was unexpected. Letter of a father. My love, your absence is an unimaginable torture that eats away at my heart. You were the only light in my life, and your death has plunged me into the coldest darkness. My greatest pain, apart from having lost you forever, is knowing that you are inaccessible, that your body, swallowed by the mountain, prevents me from giving you a decent burial. I cannot stand the idea of you being alone, so I brought you your favorite doll, the one you used to share everything with. My love, my dear daughter, my love is broken to know you so far from me. You are so far. Forgive me, my love, for being such a helpless father. May you rest in peace, my child, and may we meet again in the afterlife.
Expected?
You never know. One man's trash.
There's usually another man's trash, too.
Okay, so apparently it was that letter and an ancient doll. Not like a cursed doll, as far as we know, but that was it. And now that... that was it! We did it! Hold on. I want to look on the haunting cases and make sure that was it. Yeah, so the treasure that she died for was some old doll. Like, from her perspective. It meant a tremendous amount to the father, but literally nothing to her. Hello to Ronan and Borlak! So yeah, you guys have come in at a good time. And for the benefit of people who, like, might watch the VOD later, there turned up not to be any spoilers in chat. I think that we might have gotten there real soon. But that was good old-fashioned going to a couple fast travel points until Red said something, then being wrong about the first two choices we had on terms of direction, and then accidentally walking directly up to it. Like, again, you guys, that map means nothing to me. We found it by basically, I don't know, we were in a ravine. Do any of these fast travel points look like a ravine? No? Okay, then I'm still very stumped, and I'm going the wrong way, because we need to go to the campfire. But yeah, for anybody just joining, we just wrapped up the last epilogue story. And now we're going to go ahead with main story, basically as soon as we work our way back to the campfire. I wanted to do all the haunting cases, and all the haunting cases are done. Let's fast travel. Alright, so let's uncheck that. Right. And now we're going to go out to the Mire Marshes. So, previously in our main story, you know, content, we went to the frozen lake. The frozen lake has one of those obsidian plates that you can use to void travel, but it was closed. It was locked, and we couldn't get through it. So we had to go find Seeker. Seeker was hiding up in the mountains, and we needed to get, like, basically the passcode to make her lair visible. And then we did that. We met with Seeker, and she, like, now the way is open. I'm at this moment trying to remember if she unlocked something or told them how to open it or whatever. But now we can actually go forward and take this back to New Eden. Or New Eden Town. I guess this entire area is New Eden. Now, just before we touch this, I'm going to lay down our final, what I believe to be post doing everything, all those story quests, but pre-end game save. So we'll overwrite. Yes. All right.
Into the breach we go.
You are about to enter the Void Breach to New Eden Town. Once you've crossed it, you will not be able to return. Beyond this point, you cannot acquire new essences, upgrade your equipment, nor change Red and Antea's fate, except by loading a previous save. Make sure you are ready before journeying on. I am ready. There is a slim portion of me that would like to, like, farm experience or whatever to hit level 25, which I think is the maximum level.
In the fields outside Havana, the air is thick and hot this time of year. The downpour lasts for days. I used to lie on the grass, face to the sky, and let the rain wash over me. I'd come home soaked through, smelling of salt and dirt. It drove my mother insane. I never thought I'd hear myself say this. But I miss it. I miss home.
Tell me about your mother.
She was tall. Eyes like jeweled daggers, flashing sharp one moment, pure beauty and poise the next. She was about as predictable as the weather. It made me nervous. I doubt the years have softened her. In her defense, I was a decidedly insolent child. I should have written. I should have taken the time to visit. And I should have told you, as often as I felt it, how deeply in love I am with your tenacity. You seize the light and cling to it, no matter what.
I am stubborn when I want to be. I'm also charming as hell.
You have your moments, and we'll have many more.
You and me. Always.
Thank you for standing by my side through it all, for everything. Into the fray, then.
Always. What is it?
Baggage I may need to finally face. Let's press on.
The rest of the sentence earlier was going to be, I think level 25 is the maximum level in the game, in that there is actually an achievement listed
Stay
for...
watchful. Spectres are still drawn to you.
Oh, brilliant.
for getting that level. We're very close to 24, but it's possible, like you just saw that we got like 1,800 experience points. The bar did not move very much, so it's conceivable that any XP we get from this point is not going to cover
You
it.
chose the schoolhouse too.
Of course. Our last night together.
I knew it. And now the question is, how do we reach it?
I didn't know if there might be like a ghost tunnel around.
I like your doll. What are you doing?
This is Aleja. She is a witch, and she is running away from the Spanish soldiers. She had a horse, but he died. He was an old friend.
Maybe we can build her up.
I'm Anthea. What's your name?
To hell with that.
Was that an echo? In the void?
I don't know, and I don't want to know.
So I was thinking that we were listening to the voices of two children from the schoolhouse, but then one of them said, "I'm Antea." I doubt there's very many of those going around. It would be an interesting coincidence.
What the?
Patience, Antea. You know that we have to be twice as good as them to get half of what they have. I can't stand her anymore.
Yeah, I don't think we can punch through that
That's
rock.
unfit for us to cross.
Yeah, that raises all sorts of questions about how we would get a floating rock. In the past, we've had cases where we did, like, shear off part of a stalactite or whatever in order to ghost tunnel past it. This one's up in the air.
That.
I think your mother is jealous of you.
I'm better than she was a mage. Of course she is.
We could train in secret. Practice when she's not looking.
These are memories from my childhood. But why here?
They brought more friends.
So unfortunately, I'm not yet ready for fusion mode.
Yes, okay now.
I have another in sight.
Oh, that's Antea. Not another enemy. Anything specific? So we've got a slingshot here. but apparently not much in the way of a voice. I may also have interrupted it by switching to Antea while she was observing that, so I'm a little bit concerned that I truncated out some dialogue.
Over there, a passageway.
I would not have expected this section of, like, our void travel to be focused on Antea. This is an interesting
Paths
development.
form and reform. Your passageway's already gone.
This place has a plan for us, and I suspect we may not like it.
Hello, Asperby. Asperby, how was the rest of your stream? We got raided over with me, and I got a chance to watch some of the...
Just us here and there. Damn it.
The void centers in on us. Perhaps you've been thinking about your past and memories are manifesting.
Or the other way around.
If I say knitting, I hope that that's the correct word for it, because, like, I may not accurately represent the difference between knitting or crocheting or, like, other forms of weaving. But we were in earlier, and it was a lot of fun, and I hope you're having a great rest of your Saturday. With a bit of luck, we are now, and well, actually, not luck. The game straight up said, "Hey, this is endgame. Like, this is it." It gave you that video game. This is the point of no return. So proceed with caution. Okay. Apparently, I'm not going to get an easy hit on this guy. Okay, I do not want to get killed by this dude.
Call on me.
Okay, that wasn't the swipe I was hoping for. Oh, okay. I was about to say, oh, her yell isn't ready, and then it just didn't transition between...
Rory,
Tell me,
Calendre is here.
your childhood friend is here.
What passed for my friend?
Right. We leave now. You explain later.
Crocheting, okay. Yeah, the differences are probably, like, extremely clear, and I just don't have in my head a good definition between, like, the different forms of, like, working with...
Mama? Mama!
It's just a game.
What's going on?
Go on. Batman.
What are you?
Our house burned. But we lived. I banished her without knowing how. Back then, I didn't know what she was. It's here. Leading us somewhere we don't want to go.
Free yourself, Antea. Let the fire melt your shackles.
Careful, Red. It's close. Easy as pie.
Nah, but you can't cook.
Right, we can't hack through this with a sword. So, Asperby is saying crochet uses one hook and knitting... Sorry, one hook, and knitting uses at least 2 needles. I feel like I have to go back. Oops.
Stay, Antea. Stay and play with me.
I feel like I'm being led by the nose.
It's playing with us. Wants us to feel powerless.
Like knitting and crocheting both fall into the category of like, if you just showed me the tools that are used to accomplish them, I would never in a million years guess that that's what they're used for.
Feast on your soul.
Like it's
You won once,
really impressive
Never
to
again.
me.
never again. Come and play, Antea. Come and play.
And haven't there been studies that say that like,
Never leave this place.
sorry, Antea's getting like her ego taunted to death. Should probably be paying attention to that. But haven't there been studies about how like knitting and crocheting is like it can do a lot to like keep the mind sharp even into like advanced old age? I want to say that there's been studies that even indicate that people who otherwise have physical symptoms that would be associated with
You can't go round the fire. You must go through.
like age-related mental decline don't actually have the mental symptoms of it if they have something like crocheting and knitting that they are like very much invested in. But of course, I think that it also requires the use of your hands, which again, as you get older, may not be. Is this okay? That crack is where we came from, I think. Regardless, we're going to go forward. Yeah, Asper B says there's studies that it helps with mental health.
Oh, look back there, all alone. No one to play with, no one to talk to. Poor little Antea, gifted and talented, constricted, bound, abandoned.
Go to hell.
I'm sorry, it didn't occur to me until that was going on that it might be deemed a little bit insensitive of Red to be lighting a fire in the burned down remnants of Antea's memory house. I feel like we should just turn around and Antea will just be like, really?
Look at you now. Look at you dead. Vain and foolish. And oh, the killing he has done for you. You're a poison to the goodness of your man's heart.
Remember the rumbles, Red. Remember Abigail. Don't indulge it.
Have you forgotten, Red? Just who you are?
Damn you. You want to play, Calendre? Fine. Let's play.
At last you visit Calendre. Your bestest friend.
We are not friends. And your name is not Calendre.
Perhaps I should name myself by what called me to you. Your weariness? Your solitude? Your arrogance?
I want to know what the one question is.
I have just one question. Why me?
I heard your call. You are such a powerful soul. How could I not answer? How could I not come and play? The shining craving in your heart lit the way. All I had to do was follow. All I had to do was take.
You failed. I win.
Look at yourself, Antea. Look at the man you love. Look at what you've done to him. Is this victory?
There are more of you, aren't there? So what's a manipulative demon like you doing in the void? Why aren't you out in the incarnate world?
Because the woman you are killing for sent me here. Because she banished me. Tell me, Rory of the clan McGrath, when you realize you hardly know the woman you love, how does it feel to learn, after all these years together, these things she never deigned to tell you? These things that sit brooding at the very center of her soul.
My love for her is unconditional.
Yes, your bloodied hands tell the tale.
Why'd you lead us here? What do you want from us?
Don't humor it, Rory.
Careful now. The idea of tearing your precious little pet into pieces just became much more appealing. I'd hate for you to get hurt so fast while you try to save him. But, oh wait, you already did that, didn't you?
Rory, please. You cannot play your old tricks with me, Calendre. I am stronger now. So much stronger.
Bold of you to claim for a very dead Banisher.
I was a little girl when we met. You used me, manipulated me, and made me believe that was love. However arrogant, however angry I was, you changed me, disfigured me. I abandoned my home. I fled from everything and everyone. I thought I had to be alone so that you could never happen again. For that, I forgive myself. But you, Calendre, no. You I do not forgive.
What will you do when you have sacrificed your lover's conscience so to reclaim your body? Will you forgive yourself then?
The souls we banish end up in the void. I know this now. I pity them. I pity you. I may have needed you then, but I don't need you now. Not for my own closure. Not for anything.
Antea, Antea. Such a clever girl. So good with words of power. Is that how you seduced your little pet here?
My name is Nezuko, and I am the relentless servant of the Queen of Kerr.
The hell?
Come, stay a while, stay forever.
I feel like we usually have to fight the Sorrows.
So predictable.
Like, I was 100% gonna spend our time fighting Nezuko. But every other time that there's been a Sorrow in the area, it's always been fight... Oop. Okay. Fight these things first.
Come back, Calendre. We're not done.
Oh, hold on.
Devil take it!
Oh, here we go. Yeah, I didn't take a single swipe at Kalendre or Nazuku, and it seems like they took off. Fighting the Sorrows feels like the right move. That said, if we don't... hold on. There's a Sorrow over here. Oh, we can hurt it. Okay.
I can.
Okay, really didn't get the best of that. And I can't move? I can't move and I can't change. Okay, here we go.
Alright, that's cheating.
We must focus on the sorrow. Then we can teach that thing pain.
As stubborn as one.
I'm stronger and faster. I'll destroy you.
I see you.
Okay,
And I
ow.
see you.
You're so predictable. My domain.
It's really polite of the game to put the health bars for these things visible from such a distance. Most of the other ones of these that we've ever done, you definitely have to, like, peek the corners and see what else is around.
As stubborn as you are.
Ow, ow, ow. Okay, but don't die doing this, though. No! Okay, hold on. I'm gonna have a decoction. Okay, that... Okay.
You are
Running away, are we?
It really wanted me to look up this way. Yeah, for anybody that might have, you know, not caught every episode, this feels like a lot of new information to us. There's been implications about Antea and like how she became a Banisher, but this is the first that it's like, oh, apparently she was affected by
This is my realm.
demon when she was young, goaded into starting to practice with demonic powers. Ow.
Your soul.
There's a tough one.
And apparently tricked into like burning her own family to death. I feel like that's what we're learning. Or her own home. Ow! No! Oh boy, hold on. I hope he gets some, like, more decoctions. I kind of feel like Antea should get the last blow on this if we possibly can. Kind of her fight.
That was something.
I never told you the full story. I'm sorry.
No need.
Please, let's get out of here.
Oh, this is the graveyard. Remember where our friend Charles Davenport? His
Onwards.
grave.
There's no more time to lose.
Ronan is saying that he's struggling going between Lies of P and Strangers of Paradise.
Is the entire town lost to Ivy? Her influence must still be strong.
Having played neither Ronin, they seem like they would fall into like kind of similar genres. And yeah, I make a point not to play like two different third-person action games, two different top-down strategy games, because like the differences in like the flow and the controls and the shortcuts and stuff, it's just I get confused between them. Like to try to play this and I do not know why I'm picking up crafting materials just in case I need them later. We're gonna find the nightmare. She's gonna say, "Have at you! Wait, you've collected 500 seashore candles. My favorite. Let's not have a fight afterwards."
But as Charles would say, another day, another soul to save.
These people have no idea what they're up against. We really had no idea what we were walking into.
You died because I was arrogant.
I did. And you were.
Okay, we're not going to linger on this. A, hello to Jelly Buns. Jelly Buns, I hope you're having a great Saturday. B, my memory is that he ran into the meeting house because he woke up and Antea was missing, and he thought she might have tried to go in without him to save him. I didn't take that as arrogance. I took that as concern for his loved one. Maybe I'm misremembering the beginning of the game, but I didn't think it was arrogance. It wouldn't be the first time that the characters came to a conclusion about something that I was like, is that what happened? Okay, I guess I'll take your word for it. I mean, you guys have been Banishers longer than I have. I only have the scope of this game to tell me what's what. So, Jelly Buns, we are into the end game now. We hit our point of no return. We got the warning, hey, this is it. I said, yep, let's go. And we learned something about how Antea's first day as a Banisher. We'll put a positive spin on it. And now we have returned to New Edentown, which is the place that we were at the very beginning. They've really fixed it up nicely. Jelly Buns is having a super Saturday. Went to a sculpture museum and they had a room that was a recreation of Van Gogh's The Bedroom, and it was the best thing ever. Now, Jelly Buns, if I were to see Van Gogh's The Bedroom, I'd probably recognize it, like, by sight, but by name, I do not. It might be part of just not being good with names, and it might be part of, like, you know, it took me a long time to learn that that painting that looks like a starry night is actually called Starry Night, and it wasn't just people generally describing it. It's the actual name of the thing. But I'm glad that you got to go to the sculpture display. Exhibit, maybe.
Once I bruise the heart, destroy the wisps within its roots.
Okay, so where do we think? There. Probably over here. Yes, there. So we've got 1 high, we've got 2 low, and then... three lower. Okay, we should be able to do this, I feel. Yeah. Okay, let's try that one more time, maybe.
Think you could take on a ghost?
Nope, hold on.
Basta.
Not just for story reasons, but it would be fun to see other people play this and just go with, like, a completely different build. Like, the way that I've built Antea, I've mentioned this on a number of recent occasions as we've looked through different, like, build options. The cooldown on her, like, in Snare is really long. Like she can do 1, maybe 2 in a particularly long fight. The docks are closed by sabotage, for sabotage by fire. All trade to Boston, Marblehead, Salem, etc. is cut off until the saboteur is caught. I think we saw that notice at the beginning of the game, and I was like, oh, that'll be one of the things that we wind up investigating.
Would you a lecture on the sanctity of marriage?
Esther wouldn't dare. And we don't need a piece of paper to keep us together.
Aye, I remember you telling her.
I miss us.
We'll soon be back.
Back together. Always.
Forever.
Well, I want to know what's in here, though. Is this Charles Davenport's house? Mr. Landon Dutton of New Eden sells to Flora Abbott of Lynn in the county of Massachusetts 2 1/2 acres of land, including a dwelling and 800... I do not remember this. Note at New Eden, Dutton, Mrs. Abbott, H. Bachelor. Alexander Law, Flora Abbott. 5 acres of land. Well, Alexander Law we know is like, he was the owner of that guy whose name I'm forgetting right now, but he decided to split ways with, Phoebe. Silas Law? Or something like that. Otherwise, this doesn't mean a tremendous amount to me right now. A nice place, though. And... Governor Fairfax Haskell, proclaimed... Oh, Flora Abbott! I didn't know that Flora's last name was Abbott, or at least I forgot that, but yeah, she won the New Eden hunting contest. Okay. Yeah, no, she was awesome. One of the many casualties left in our wake, although not by our hand.
We Highland kiss for you.
I hope that wasn't Flora's ghost right there, just the person with the rifle. Bone Walker with the rifle.
I see a light.
How? Could Esther still be here?
Oh, in here.
Oh, there? Anybody home?
The garment down to the foot of his skirt, studded perhaps with a golden girdle. His head in his hair.
Esther?
Murray? Are you a dream? Are you here? Are you really here?
I am. We are. Have you been here alone all this time?
No, not alone. Charles visits from time to time. We talk.
So we ascended Charles. Let's ask her questions rather than give her statements.
Of what do you talk?
Oh, of this and that. Of love and fear. My love for him. My fear that I may never see him again. Do we ever mend the wounds of true love lost?
Esther, do you know me?
Antea. Yes, I know you. You come to Red as Charles comes to me. How very good of you.
Dearest Esther, I died. I am a ghost.
You know, I'd have liked to join your games. You three. Chasing ghosts and whatnot. I learn fast. But not today. Today feels like a dream.
What's happened in New Eden while we were gone?
Oh, everyone left. I did not wish to join them. She let me stay.
She? Deborah?
Speak not her name. It makes her angry. She is much more powerful now, and your return has already vexed her.
We're not here to vex her, nor to attack her. Antea just wants what's hers.
Last time, Red McGrath, you escaped with your life. Do you think she'll let you do it again?
I'm rather hoping she will, aye. She knew I'd come back. What else was I gonna do?
Which of us has choice when free will is a lie? None has choice. Each is another's glimmer of hope, sparkling futile in the darkness.
We're here for Antea's body. It's her tie, and the nightmare has it.
Yes. By her body she is held hostage. Her flesh is her tie. Charles told me all about it.
We must break the tie to set Antea free.
She won't surrender it. You'll have to end her. But if she goes, then Charles goes too. I don't want that. I don't want that at all.
What's going on up at the meeting house?
I do not ask about the meeting house, and nor should you. To think that once we worshipped there, that Charles would give his sermons there. There of all places.
What awaits us in the meeting house?
You know. You know who awaits you there. Behind the eerie overgrowth. The meeting house is her garden now. Her hate is deeply rooted. And her climbing, crawling creepers reach out across the land. Like the tree of blood that grows from out your heart.
All things good and bad have their end. The meeting house is just a place. We'll go there and find a finish.
You're a brave and gentle soul, Red McGrath. I shall remember you when you're gone. If remember I still can.
Can we speak of Deborah?
Don't say her name. She'll hear you. She'll hear our thoughts.
Let her. Truth is not to be feared. Truth is freedom. There's no ending to the story until the truth is told.
Red, you are a dear, dear friend. But there is no truth that does not look like a nightmare. And the difference between the two cannot be told.
Nothing stands against the truth, and even a nightmare's power must have its limit.
And what if the limit is the frontier of New Eden? What if here she is all powerful and there is no escape?
What will pass, will pass. And if it does, and we are free, what will you do?
I'll away back to London. New Eden is lost now and for centuries to come.
I am a ghost, and ghosts do not dream. This is real. We are here, and so are you. I promise you.
Perhaps none of it is real. Perhaps it is all her dream. Perhaps this is the curse.
Aye. And maybe life's a dream, but hell's balls, I hope not.
New Eden was a dream, you know. A dream of heaven shared by we, its people. But we seem to have brought the nightmare with us.
Goodbye, Esther. Perhaps we'll meet again.
Perhaps we shall. It's so very pleasant to speak to new old friends. From time to time. To time.
So I was waiting for the point in that conversation when she was just going to, like, pull out a blade and slide it across her own throat or something. I didn't say anything, Esther. Talk to you later. And hello to Grumpy. I don't think there's anything else for us to look into here. Yeah, this was Charles Davenport's wife. This is the house that I thought we might have been in earlier just because, you know, you can see that it's nicely appointed. There's some cool stuff in here. But this house is much larger than the one that we were in before. Jelly Buns was...
It breaks my heart to see her this way.
This is the nightmare's doing.
We need to be careful. We're in her stronghold now.
Also waiting for her to attack. Yeah, like, I thought that at one point she'd, like, turn around to, like, grab a cherry off the counter and turn back around with, like, a cleaver and just, like, dive at Red, because she's been lingering in this place, presumably without sleep, rest, or company for however long we've been out. Weeks? I don't know if there's going to be anything new here. That's the curfew notice. Yep. Path to the meeting house is closed. And cemetery is closed. So, it does look like there might be a campfire in here. Witchcraft in New Eden. Oh, wait, hold on. About Deborah Comenius. If this was available before, I definitely did not read it. Ever since we arrested her, the witch has been crying out her innocence and begging us to set her free. She says it's a mistake. Witches are like that. Lie makers. They are ready to do anything in order to deceive you and please their dark lord. I set out to search her house. I found many books on many subjects, but also notes on the history of the area. I don't know why she did this. It looks like a study. Maybe she was planning to bring her sisters to take over New Eden? I think we have escaped the worst of it, but I still need to do more research. The study books I found look like ordinary books, but I'm sure they are coded, that they hide secrets. I'll watch out. And finally, it will be over with these stories of witchcraft in New Eden by S. Pennington. I don't remember Captain Pennington's name, but this shows a nastiness. Remember that we did banish him. We did blame him. Reading a note like that makes me feel even better about that decision. Captain Pennington's unsent letter. Brother, I've little time to write and less inclination, but should I have the courage to post this letter, I believe it would please you to hear my news. You are likely unaware of my newest commission. I now captain the train band in the resettled colony of New Eden. It made a pleasant change and allowed me, or so I thought, time to devote to Grace, your niece. Alas, my daughter no longer lives at home. Right, Grace is, Seeker. Alas, my daughter no longer lives at home. Bent as I was on my new responsibilities to the town train band, I allowed her the freedom to find her place here, and for some months all went well. The girl was growing into a young woman, modest and good. Some of the finer young men expressed an interest in taking her as a wife. Then more recently I noticed a note of resentment creep into her comportment. Her witty remarks, hitherto light and gentle, became barbed. Neighbors took offense, and soon so too, I admit, did I. But my admonitions had no effect, dear brother. If anything, she worsened. And then, and I can barely bring myself to write it, I learned why. I discovered her writing, drawings she had drawn, strange dolls she had constructed. Ashamed as I am to put the words on the page, I must. My dear brother, your niece gave herself to the devil. And when I, outraged, calmly demanded explanation, she smirked, she laughed. I could hear the evil one in her soul, and see him glint in her eye. I chased her from the house. I forbade her ever to return, and yet I was weak. I should have arrested her. I should have denounced her to the court, but she is even yet my daughter. I pray that the next time I suspect such ungodly practice, I shall not be so lenient. Right, the next time was Deborah. Please, should Grace come to visit, be warned that she is a witch. Keep your beautiful family safe and send my daughter from your door in all haste, or smite her if you deign it needed. She is no more my daughter. She is no more a Pennington. I'll not see her again, lest she bring the devil and his shame into my house. I advise you to follow my example and do the same. Your brother Saul. Hello to Dawn Evil! Dawn, we have returned to New Eden. We are barreling into the end game, and we have come into the home of Saul Pennington. I couldn't remember his first name before. And learned something about how things went down between him and his daughter. The Ghost of War. For civilians, never-ending wars or long-lasting battles are just fancy words or concepts for history books and stories. But for any soldier or officer, it is a grim reality which resonates with pain and fear beyond exhaustion. Contrary to what most people believe, most battles are short and deadly. Troops meet, people die, victory is declared. To stand on a battlefield is exhausting for the body, the mind, and the nerves. I have never personally spent more than a few minutes, an hour at most, in a combat situation, and I cannot thank God enough to have survived without any major injuries. But then, why do I so frequently dream of never-ending battles? Is it a way for my brain to let my deepest fears go at night, like some steam from a kettle? If only. For these dreams are awful and terrible, and I see myself standing forever on a rotten battlefield, unable to remember why I fight or who I fight, only animated by the burning desire to keep on killing. And I stand there, drenched in blood, desiccated and grinning like the horsemen of the apocalypse, forgetting the reason why I ever started fighting and forgetting about the idea of resting. When I wake up, I fear to touch my face. I feel under my fingers the barren mask of death, and feel under my fingers the barren mask of death in flesh that I am when I'm asleep. For those dreams are like another reality whispered by my brain, and a dark depiction of my true self to come. We'll look quickly to see if there's an upstairs to this place, but I feel like there is not. Jellybun says these people need therapy and medication. They are not coming to rational conclusions. Basically, Saul Pennington got mad at his daughter, like started to suspect his daughter because she was acting like a teenager, which she undoubtedly was. Getting snide, getting snarky. What on earth has happened to my sweet little girl? How could she have turned so crude? Letter from Dr. Mindlaw. Boston on this 13th day of February, 1689. To whom it may concern. My name being Alton Mindlaw, and a doctor here in Boston, I write this letter that you may accord the bearer, one Miss Anne Wings, all consideration for useful employment within your company. Although a single woman and plain... That's horrible. Anne Wings was the best medical professional that we met in the entire game, and her letter of recommendation says, although a single woman and plain, Miss Wings has many fine attributes, mostly pertaining to the provision of care to the sick and wounded. You know, the thing that's important. She may be of use to your train band or as a port of first call should your townlands lack as yet a doctor. She speaks only when required and then does so gently, but she is sharp and clever and knows her way around remedies and salves, can cook and clean, and has a strong stomach to boot. That is... It's probably highly representative of a letter of recommendation at the time, but that is terrible. Like, literally, you just drop that line and everything else is still fine. Dearest Mistress Wings, hold on, Jellybun says, she's single and ugly, but oh well. Yeah, sorry we couldn't send you one of the hot nurses. Hot Lips Houlihan on the way. Dearest Mistress Wings, Anne, how pleasant it was to hear from you. You'll be glad to hear, I hope, that the carpenter has turned me a wooden leg, and a fine peg it is too. I shall be up and dancing like a cack-footed cockerel before I know it. Perhaps someday we shall dance together, as we talk about. Perhaps, and I hope this not be too forward, we might even marry. Although I be of an age and tall, I am a foot shorter than most women would like, and I know it. But though young, you are wise and a kind and gentle soul with a good heart, that you did not look upon me with disgust nor with pity, and that has stirred a warming in my heart. Come back to me, Anne, and be my wife. The pastors helped me write this letter. Yours in respectful solicitude, Irwin. So we didn't meet Irwin. It sounds like he might be from back home. Now, Anne Wings did not die by our hand. That happened while we were, that happened out of frame. But we did make her death a lot worse, which didn't feel good. Anne Wings' old journal, 1685. Argued with Taunton over Hippocrates' theory of humors. The good surgeon, in common visitation, did not appreciate my contradicting him, but he is wrong. The treatment of the sick and wounded cannot be founded on classical principles evermore, not without challenge. Much good work is done in England, and in Europe too, with Fatio, and Fabry, and Marie Collinet, and others, but there are useful notions elsewhere. Araby in particular. Taunton sees himself as a learned Christian Englishman, but the cross sits over his eyes and ears. He cannot see the way ahead, and he will not hear the truth if it does not come from other learned Christian Englishmen. I really miss Anne. Anne was probably my favorite NPC. She was the one that it hurt the most when she turned up dead. And then when we turned her into basically a banshee from Mass Effect, that fucking sucked. Let's go up here.
Ready and waiting.
Just the one, huh? Her or Seeker. Seeker's really cool as well. Seeker had probably one of the best lines in the game, which was also one of the shortest. Thickskin's unsent letter. Kate, you know I'm not good with words, but I want to tell you something, and since I can't talk to you, maybe I can write it down. I can see that you have changed since the execution of Deborah Comenius. I can see that you are not well, and I won't ask you why, because I know you won't tell me. But you have to pull yourself together. You have to be strong. Otherwise, you won't survive in this world. I know our relationship has changed, and I know I'm not the best at expressing feelings, but you're my little sister and I care about you. I will do anything to keep you close to me. I want to help you, Kate, so let me do it. That's a very sweet letter about sisterly love from a mass murderer. Breaking news, Thickskin had at least one person in the whole world that she cared about as she went around just being a serial killer. My darling girls, it's been a few weeks since I've heard from you. I hope everything is going well. The old world has not changed. Old Everton died 2 days ago, a simple death, a peaceful one, in his sleep. I don't know if you remember him, but you used to feed his chickens when you were children. You loved it. The funeral is in a few days, but I don't think there'll be many people there, unfortunately. You know how lonely he was. On a happier note, your cousin is getting engaged soon with Mary. She's such a lovely girl. They may move to York because Mary wants to open her own store, and your cousin will certainly find more work in town. We would have loved to have you at his wedding. Perhaps you can come back soon. Send us some news. Your father's worried, and so am I. Your father and brother embrace you. Your mother who loves you. Yeah, okay. Thick skin. Sorry, if there's anything in this house that is like, oh man, Thick Skin was a human being who was once herself a little girl and grew up and she was innocent and kind and maybe she learned her hard ways from the hard life that she came from. Yeah, fuck off. Like, a lot of people have dark and hard times in their life. They don't go around killing people that they warrant as being undeserving. Letter from the Newsmith's father, 8th of September, 1688. My dear Catherine, I'm glad to know your sister is teaching you to shoot. I know she can be a little tough sometimes, but give her a chance. You know she has a thick skin, and I doubt that will change. Your sister changed drastically when your mom got sick. She suffered a lot during all those years, you know. You don't remember it because you were still a child and we wanted to protect you, but your sister, despite her young age, took a lot on herself to take care of you and the farm while I took care of your mother. She knew she wanted to go to school, and I knew she wanted to go to school, and why not get an education? But I asked her to stay and help me, and I still feel bad about it. She didn't have the choice to do what she wanted with her life. So do it for me, will you? Our relationship has always been complicated. I would like it to be the other way around for you. I'd like you to get along with your sister. She never talks about it, but she has suffered a lot. Maybe one day you'll be able to break through her shell. Your father who loves you. Letter from the Newsmith's father. Different letter. Sorry, that's 21st of July. This was 8th of September, 1688. Okay, so this is a little bit earlier. My dear Catherine, your last letter about this woman's execution frightened me. No one has the right to life or death. No one has the right to be above our Lord. We all make mistakes, but the one who decides to punish the guilty party by taking away their life is not much better than them. Who are we to pretend to play God? I thought the New World would bring its share of modernity. Obviously, we did well to stay in England. We are too old for this kind of adventure anyway. Oh, father dear, you have no idea how lucky you are to be an ocean away from this place. You know that I have always been strongly opposed to the death penalty, but the more time passes, the more the people with whom I discuss the subject change their minds. People change, Catherine, you have to believe me. One day, I'm sure, the world will become a better place. I don't know if I will see it, but you, my daughter, will be a part of that new world. You are already there. Take advantage of this new beginning to bring new ideas to make your voice heard. I know you can be as strong as your sister sometimes, so come out of the shadows and dare to fight for what you believe in. I do think that Kate Newsmith was running that place better than Thickskin ever did. I hope so. So this is actually later. This is 1690, so a year and change later. Almost 2 years. My dear Catherine, we had to sell 3 goats last month. The winter was hard on our crops. We had few crops and we didn't have enough money to buy food for the whole winter. Your mother is sad. You know how much she cared about her goats. After all, we had them for 10 years. We saw them being born. But they were starting to get aggressive with each other. Also, they were giving us less and less milk. I guess the man who bought them from us will slaughter them. I haven't told your mother, but I'm going to see about buying a goat this summer. If we can afford it, maybe that will cheer her up. On a completely different subject, your cousin met a young woman, Mary. She's a seamstress and has just moved in with her aunt, old Webley, to keep her company and to help her in her old age. She is charming. They fit well together. We hope for an engagement soon. This is where I wonder when we will receive a wedding invitation from you. You know that your sister will probably never get married. She told us so many times. But you have all the qualities to be a good wife. Is there no young man in the new world who appeals to you? You should think about it. You are not young anymore, and we're getting older by the day. Your father who loves you. Hello to Princess Casey. Princess Casey, who's voting for cereal on pizza. I like cereal and I like pizza. Pizza with crunchy stuff on it actually sounds like it could be good, but I'm not sure of... It would have to be a very plain cereal. Like Frosted Flakes, Grape Nuts. The thing about Grape Nuts is that I feel like Grape Nuts just cut my mouth to ribbons. Also, has there ever in life been a more deceptive name than Grape Nuts? Grumpy's voting for pineapple. I am all for pineapple on pizza. It's not like my favorite pizza, but like things that you can put on pizza to make sure that I don't have any. Like, I will not steal your pizza if it has spinach, cauliflower, broccoli. I've actually never had an anchovy pizza, so I don't know how I feel about it. You guys, we found the 7 leather that we needed. Now we're all set. Now we can do the end game. Like, I've never seen a pizza with Brussels sprouts, but I assume that that would drive me away. Grumpy says that anchovies make pizza too salty. I swear to God, every single one of these houses looks exactly the same to me at this point. We're only going to know by the documentation. Okay, so we've made the rounds. If there's a house I didn't get to, I will have to live with that. See, I would be willing to try an anchovy pizza. I just would not be willing to order an anchovy pizza. There's so many pizzas that I know that I like. It would be difficult for me to gamble on one that...
We should set sail somewhere warm and safe. The dead don't linger.
No such place. But it's not a bad idea.
The Lesser Palingenesis ritual. I've never done anything like this.
Neither have I. But if you do, all could be as it was before.
And yet nothing shall ever be the same again.
Wait, which one is the schoolhouse? I want to do that one. I'm pretty sure this is the schoolhouse. Grumpy broke a frame.
This is an odd kind of homecoming.
Switching out his monitor, like a picture frame or a different type of frame?
'Tis strange to be back.
It's strange. To sleep near the place where you died.
Still, rest you should. You'll need it.
And you can't bathe twice in the same river. It's not the same river and you're not the same man.
And yet nothing shall ever be the same again.
Aye. You'll come back changed. And you'll come back to find that I am changed.
Of course we'll have changed, but we'll be alive, with a lifetime of changing stretching out before us.
And we'll be together.
For better or worse.
The top one feels too accusatory.
Something's missing. Something happened to us and you came back and I'm so glad you did. But I don't know why.
That night in this room, I asked you for caution. I worried you'd act rashly and you promised me you would not. Then you did it anyway.
I thought you'd gone to the meeting house without me.
I died to save you.
Is that why your ghost returned? Is that why you stayed?
Yes, I stayed because I was angry. Angry with you.
I think I've known that for a while now.
The anger lingers. Part of me resents you yet. For my pain and my fear. For my suffering. For my dying. I resent you.
Antea, I am truly sorry.
I know you are. But soon, I'll be back. Then we'll both bathe in this new river, together.
That's how I feel about it. Specifically, that exact thing is... I actually do understand her being angry about it. He went to the meeting house because it's exactly what he said. It's exactly what I said earlier. He thought that she went there without him, so he went there to catch up to her. Not to rescue her, mind you, but just to make sure that she had support. Turned out that she wasn't there. I'm trying to remember if we ever got a firm declaration on where she did go, but then things went down, and she died so suddenly. And we know that ghosts tend to get obsessed with things and get like very, very pointed on certain things. And then she came back, and now it's been who knows how many days, weeks that she's been lingering dead. And yeah, she would feel anger, she would feel resentment, and now she's saying it out loud. His response was, and well, I think that where they wound up together on it was, once she's alive again, which fingers crossed is the way that this is going to go, if she's still that angry and the two of them do wind up going their separate ways, at least she has a new shot. At least she has a new chance to go off and do something. I don't want them to break up, but this is the best option he has to make it up to her. And then if she's still mad about it, look, I haven't been killed recently, so I can't really tell her that she needs to get over it. It seemed very painful and sudden. Weak spot hits with a rifle trigger a punch attack that ignores resistance. That's okay, I guess. Banishing increases the damage of the next manifestation by 70%. I'd rather have that for whatever fight that we're going to go into, because banishing, it may not, like, eradicate the ghost, but hopefully it just means to use the ability. And then we are going to rest. We'll rest. I guess so. Carol Luna, thank you for the request to quote. I mean, Antea has experiences that no one... Well, I can't say nobody else in the game, but at least Red does not have. And he is sorry. And look at how much he's done here to try to set things right. Jellybuns is going to drop a lurk. Jellybuns, thank you very much. By the way, Jellybuns said that she loves salt and might try it. I have certainly had things that are too salty. That said, I do feel like I have a higher tolerance for salt and a lower tolerance for like...
It is time.
What if I fail once more? One wrong choice will exact a heavy price.
Whatever happens, we will face it. For better or worse.
Like, super fishy tastes. I like fish sticks. I like, and like saying that you like fish sticks as an example of liking fish is like saying, well, I like McDonald's chicken nuggets, so therefore I like chicken. Yeah, it does have something related to chicken in it, but it's not the same as having chicken, right? So I'm trying to think of like a fish meal that I do enjoy or have ever had at all. So, in other words, I don't know how I'd feel about anchovies.
That Spectre's looking for a body. Standing by.
Oh, not yet.
Watch out. Spectre possession.
Crap. No! Oh! I thought I punched him with, Antea, which would have reloaded the rifle.
This on for size. This ain't me now.
Ready and waiting.
You'll notice that I'm not making very much use of the fusion ability right now. I want to make sure that we have that fully charged. Seaweed pizza, says Princess Casey is the bee's knees.
I made the corrupt. She won't let us in so easily.
A few roots will not stop us.
I have had, like, seaweed is pretty salty. I have enjoyed the seaweed that I have had in life, which is not much. Carolina loves salt. B. Let go. There we go. Okay, so there's one of our cysts, and then the other one is there. Okay, I feel like we know where to go. I'm gonna try to tackle the further one first. And then I just now noticed this one.
Did I ever mention how good we are together?
No Eden suffers. We suffer.
Good to hear.
My friends, I have disturbing news. Among us walks a witch. Is that not so, Deborah Comenius? Lock her up.
No! No! 'Tis not true! I am no witch!
So that's how it all began.
Aye. With ordinary evil from the hearts of fearful men.
Death certificate. Herewith noted in the death of childbirth, Rebecca Haskell, at the age of 24 years. May God have mercy upon her soul. So that's probably the daughter or wife of Fairfax Haskell. Oh, it could be Lammy's mother. Grace's herbarium. White baneberry, toxic to most living things except birds, good poison. Horsefly weed. Chaga? I don't know that. Wolfsbane, extremely toxic plant, inducing vomiting, suffocation, and death. Letter draft, some words are scratched on the paper. My dear Charles, further to our discussions at court last night and your impassioned plea, I have persuaded my fellow selectmen to approve your request. You may write to summon your Banisher friends in New Eden that they may help us lift the curse. Please note that this is not an invitation for them to join our company, as once the curse is lifted, our children will return, and we must foster an ambience most moral and faithful. We shall pay the Banishers for their services, and then they shall leave. I am conscious, painfully so, that we're using a hammer to fix a clock, but I admit that we have little choice. The minutiae of our combined skills, yours and mine, have, for now, failed us. Though I have several misgivings about the violence and uneducation of your friends, I shall take you at your word. Times are desperate, and we must fight fire with fire, else all shall burn. I hereby approve the expenditure from the company purse. May his light sign above you, Charles, and all above us. Governor Fairfax Haskell, that was from. But this is not Charles's house, so I feel like that was an unsent letter, except the Banishers are here, so he must have methodically written out a duplicate of the letter for himself. Or maybe Charles brought the letter by and said, hey, can you grab that? Grab that cash for me? The last settlement of New Eden, 1687 and counting. The third settlement of New Eden town started during the spring of 1687, less than a year ago. Most of them came from Yorkshire, and they were looking for a peaceful place to live their simple and pious life without being harassed. Fairfax Haskell was among the leaders. Protected by a small train band led by Captain Pennington, they reached the abandoned colony of New Eden town and started the third settlement attempt. Quickly enough, they hired people to fulfill the most needed positions. This is how I became the local schoolmistress during the summer of the same year. In the meantime, Lieutenant Sebastian Priest led the train band to the mountains to inspect Fort Jericho and see if it could be militarily used again. Soon enough, the mine was reopened. I made good friends like Catherine and Jane, and for time, life was good and rich, full of the most exquisite promises. But now, as I write these lines, we are in the coldest winter ever, and a deadly epidemic seems to have struck the miners. Fairfax Haskell, who is now the appointed governor, been informed by Captain Pennington of the worrying situation in the vicinity of Fort Jericho. Coming from the Mire marches, but quickly spreading, this epidemic is very similar to smallpox, fever, vomiting, pimple, and weight loss. People are worried sick the disease may reach town. Harsh words have been pronounced, words of fear and suspicion. Dearth is upon all of us. This seems, for a schoolmistress, there's a lot of what I would consider to be typos. Some of them might just be like different use of language, but dearth is not one of them. I pray for the brighter days of spring to deliver us as soon as possible. For I love my life here, and I would hate to see this promise of a beautiful life fade away, or worse, be abruptly separated from my dear friend Catherine. Yeah, dearth is a word, and it's only one letter apart from death, which is pretty plainly what she meant. So, this is the first time that we've been in Deborah's house for sure. Sorry, I don't remember which rooms we didn't choose this one. Grace's personal notes. What is a witch? A witch is a guardian and observer of the interactions between the invisible and the incarnate. She's an expert in herbs and ointments, and specializes in regulating the interactions between the living and the dead. A demonologist exerts control, a witch enchants. A witch can sacrifice a living being or a plant to extract its essence for use in rituals, and to enchant objects or places, as well as in the brewing of potions. But remember, sacrifice is only required when it's useful. It's far from a trivial act. Demonologists make sacrifices for practice. They do it because they have the power to do it and need no better reason. A witch must avoid revealing herself to the world. She is perceived as a harmful individual. Her life may be in danger. Men from one church or the other will happily kill a witch if it serves them. A demonologist serves his church. Governor Haskell is a demonologist and teaches accordingly. Lammy drinks his father's thinking like it were honeydew and cleaves to the desire for control. I don't want control, and I do not want to be controlled. I desire strength, that I may resist a hostile world. I wish to be free and to claim my freedom from my strength. I agree with Caroluna about Seeker being cool beans. If he's content with theory, a demonologist will generally have a much better image than one who actually practices rituals forbidden by faith. These rituals are similar to those used by witches and banishers. If a demonologist wants to practice, it is in his interest to protect himself against evil spirits by means of pentacles and circles of protection and even totems. There's a whole section here about creating a circle of protection. Unless this comes up on the test, I'm just going to skip this because it doesn't seem super story related. Lammy's journal, 14th of December. Today I spoke with the captain's daughter, Grace. How clever she is, and she's interested in magic too. I loaned her one of my father's books, though I know he would be furious to learn of it. 21st of September. I spent the day studying magic with Grace. I enjoy spending time with her. As much for the differences in our perspectives as their similarities. For while I am interested in magic because of the power it represents, for Grace it means freedom. That's stupid. Magic doesn't make you free. It's an important, powerful art that should not be underestimated. It can be very strong and very dark. I'm starting to get a sense on why she wasn't enthusiastic about hanging out with Lammy again. 11th of February, so not quite a month. I have not seen Grace in several days, and no one knows where she is. I think it's strange. I hope she's not dead. No, that's stupid. We'd know about it, and her father would be in more... Well, she's not dead because her father's not sad. Sorry, it's just pretty funny to me that, I mean, it is true, but in this, like, extremely cold, logical way that, well, I don't see a gravestone, so clearly she's still alive. 23rd of February, I think I made a mistake. I took advantage of the captain's absence to break into his house and went to Grace's room. All her things were gone. I found her notebook, that's why it's here in the house then, well hidden, and I took it with me. When she comes back, I'll return it. In the meantime, I shall study it, though I suspect that of my father's studies she understood nothing. Oh, Lammy, you need to say less and write less. Just keep your weirdo thoughts to yourself. Okay, so this was... I assume Governor Haskell's house, unless Lammy had a house of his own. Princess Casey, magic does make you free. Freedom grants you the right to use magic. It's a nice, self-fulfilling circle. If you are free enough to use magic, then the magic will set you free. Wait, Ronan was saying the boss wasn't too bad. Was that the guy that we faced, the big demon guy we defeated on the way up here? That's the boss. What's her face? Deborah's gonna come out. She's gonna slow clap like she's being sarcastic, but in fact, she's extremely impressed that Red and Antea were able to defeat her first lieutenant, random rage demon number 237. You did it, she says. Well, I can't hope to stand up against that. Killen says that applies to many of the people in the game. Speak less and write less. And judge less for sure, right? Like, if there's an overriding theme to the story that we've seen, it's don't judge a book by its cover, mind your own business, let people live their lives. Like, even in a world where magic is real and curses exist...
Deborah, this court finds you guilty of the devil's work. Guided by God's mercy, I pass sentence on the witch. Pain forte Dieu. Confess and name your accomplices, or die for your sins.
I have nothing to confess.
How could they have let this happen?
Not a soul stood or spoke for her. There's no justice here. It's a travesty.
Yeah, I am very much aware of the fact. I do very much remember that Kate Newsmith did not speak up for her. Okay, so we've got one. We've got two. There might only be two. I have my doubts.
Confess, witch. None stand for you. Your coven has betrayed you. Name them, and you shall live.
I am no witch. You know this. All of you. Do not turn away from me. You must release me. You must. Will no one speak for me? Anyone? Please, help me. Help me!
I feel her distress, her rising terror, her dark despair.
She's suffered enough, and so have we.
I don't want to cut off any of the dialogue by, like, pushing into the area, but also I'm not 100% sure. Like, I didn't get the sense that creeping ivy... Wait, surely I don't go down here. No. That creeping ivy opened the front door, but we can go look. But Princess Casey is saying one of the things that she likes about the game is that it has its own sort of like... Oh, to follow her own spiritual beliefs, to an extent. Oh, here it is, okay. Yeah, what I was trying to say is that, like, in this world that is, like, magic is real and so forth, the overriding message still seems to be, like, how many people that did we encounter in the game that they would have been better off if they just minded their own business? Like, not, I don't mean, like, turned their back on people in need, but just, like, relaxed? Gone on with their own lives? Clearly it's this. Oh, it's clearly not that. Okay.
Here, my body, my flesh displayed like a trophy.
More like bait.
So, the circle is complete. Do you return to the beginning? Or is it the beginning of your return?
A paradox. How clever. How it pleases you to play with time.
I do not play.
Deborah, we know what happened to you. We know what they did to you.
What they did. What they do. I shatter yet.
We're not here to hurt you. You have my body and I want it back. That's all. Help us. Because we can help you.
No, you cannot.
I'm right here, you know.
You are... I can barely feel it. Hear the Banishers. Enough. You are me. Yet you oppose me. They murdered us. Make them pay. No. They do not deserve our rage, not these two. All deserve our wrath. They crushed the breath from us. You know this. You asked for this. Not anymore.
It's over. You have been heard. The truth is out.
No! Come back! Feed upon the pain, the treachery, the outrage!
No more. It hurts.
Behold my wrath! They locked us up!
Okay. Okay.
They will subdue you once more! They locked us up!
Banishers, I won't last long.
They
seek a monster.
Ow.
Don't give it to them.
No one stood for us!
And you know, this one really hates being tied up.
Enough!
Okay, nope.
They stopped! They used us!
Oh, God. Okay, get out of this. Oh, God! Stop.
Hugging all the fun.
Yeah, super fun. Okay, this is... Never stops being funny when I take a shot that's that far off the mark.
They seek a monster. Don't give it to them.
They turned their back on us!
Okay. I am not sure that I can dodge.
Don't resist your true
Screw it.
Enough betrayal!
They betrayed you first!
Okay, that was outside radius, so that was good on her to be that far away. Whoa!
Remember the agony! The terror!
You were betrayed. You were innocent.
If they live, they win. All of them.
Enough pain now.
There must be a reckoning.
The pain may end right now. The reckoning is here.
Spare me your compassion, for it comes far too late.
Who are you?
I am retribution.
A word. An idea. But who are you?
I am her fury.
No longer.
I am their nightmare.
You were.
You believe you've won. It will not be so easy. For I will end your dreams.
Is that an end to it?
Yes. If you want it to be.
Are you sure? In your hand you weigh my death. The last stone laid upon my broken body.
I'm so very sorry.
Will you leave? Are you ready?
I have lingered so very long. Where now will I go?
I don't know. A better place, I believe. A quiet place.
Quiet is good.
Deborah Comenius, mere words can ill describe your suffering. And if they could, I'd not utter them now. Enough wrong has been done you. Your tale is told, and we thank you for it. You are heard, and free to go.
Hey, I'm right here.
Aye, you are.
It's time for the Lesser Palingenesis.
Time to bring you home.
From flesh to word. Word to heart.
From flesh to word. Word to heart.
Air to fire. Fire to earth. I'm hollowing. It's working.
Air to fire. Fire to earth.
Ending to beginning, indivisible. Death to the living. Life to the dead.
Ending to beginning, indivisible. Death to the living. Life to the dead. Antea. Antea!
Bread.
It worked. It worked.
You're back.
Thanks to you.
The curse is lifted.
Antea never fully recovered from the time when she was dead. And the things he'd done to bring her back had changed Red too. Some say you should fight for what you want. But some fights, I believe, are best lost. Battered by their ordeal at the hands of the Nightmare, the lovers must rebuild from the wreckage. A new and stronger union. For better, or for worse. Now, far from the place where New Eden once stood, Red and Antea will renew their love. A shared interest will bind them once more. A taste for forbidden fruit.
Okay, so now we get to play our favorite game at the end of most of the things that we do is, can I Alt-Tab out to notch down the music without skipping this? Let's find out together, because I don't want to skip the credits, but we'll just give it a quick second here. Let me get out to the streaming software, and we'll just take that down by a bunch, just to be on the safe side. All right, so hopefully that's not muted, but then we'll go back in. Okay, awesome. Hello to Crow. It worked. I didn't expect a happy ending. So I actually, and hello to Jab. I don't know that it was a happy ending because the ending narration there sounded a little bit like they went ahead and just started doing more of this, which is an interesting epilogue just because I didn't feel like it was earned in the immediate moments after Antea came back to life, but that was a more I was expecting a darker ending for sure. Like to go with what Jab was just saying. I thought that one of the side effects of this was going to be, I thought it was going to lean harder into what they started to say there, where the things that they had to do to bring Antea back fundamentally changed them as people. So even if she came back to life, they wouldn't be together anymore. Like, that's sort of what I was expecting. And that's not what we got. They're definitely still together. Whether or not they feel the same way, I mean, I feel like that's left up to interpretation, but I want to start with, at the very beginning of the game, it asks you what kind of oath do you want to make, and I thought about it and I said, well, like 98% of the games that I play, I'm going to go with the quote-unquote good playthrough and stuff. And I said at the time, I think it's a more interesting story if we vow to bring Antea back, and then a little bit later, a few episodes later, it wants you to recommit to that. Hey, are you sure whatever you promised before, are you sure that that's what you want to do? And I was like, at that point, Red had already made some choices that really sort of like put him several steps down that path. And what was it all for, if not to bring Antea back? Sorry, I didn't mean to roll it back. So we absolutely recommitted. If the goal was to get a more interesting story, I mean, I can't compare it against the other way that it goes, but it was definitely a very good story, especially there at the end. If we take the main story elements of, and let's take a second to, this game is one that you will hear me mention again in the future as the perfect example to why, if a game gets good reviews, I don't want to watch trailers. I don't want to see screenshots. I don't want to know even very much about the mechanics, because when we started and Antea got struck dead, like in the first 90 minutes of the game or whatever, I had no idea that was going to happen. That was an absolute plot twist to me, because I just assumed that we were going to have a game with two main protagonists, and in order to accomplish some storytelling, maybe they would split up, they'd get different parts of the story, maybe they'd be in different parts of the world, but they'd be doing things simultaneously. Like, I was thinking that was the way that it was going to go. I did not start the game and be like, okay, and that's the one who's going to be dead, and then we get spirit powers for the whole game. So it was a really strong opening that I appreciated very much, and that came about by basically going in and not knowing anything about the game other than its basic premise. Hello to Platform Platypus as well. Yes, we just wrapped up. It was a great ending because one of the things I want to be, I don't want to think about it too carefully because it was a very affecting ending as well. Red is very well, I'm trying to think of exactly the word. He's not flat. He's very controlled. Virtually all of the time. And that's why it sometimes stands out when he does get angry, when he gets irritated, when he finds something funny, because he just has sort of a very even affectation so much of the time that then at the end of it, when Antea opens her eyes and he just completely collapses onto the floor and he hugs her from this kneeling position, that is so powerful because of the time that we've spent with the character. And that right there, I feel very vindicated in the choice that we made to play the game this way, because when it asks you so early into the game, are you going to do the game? Are you going to like say goodbye to Antea, or do what the game lets you know right away is going to be some pretty questionable, sketchy stuff in order to bring her back to life? For me, it's super easy to say like, oh, well, no, she was a banisher, death to the dead. She was awfully heartless towards Charles when Charles was hanging around, so this is what Antea would want. But it's not what Antea would want. That's not what the game is asking you. It's what is Red willing to promise to Antea? And I don't know Red at all. So over here, sitting here drinking my water and playing a video game, it's super easy to say, oh yeah, just let her go. I mean, that's just what you would do. And I was like, well, no, what if we play into the idea that Red is really like, the very first cutscene is them waking up in the hold of the ship, in the quarters on the ship, and where they're about to make landfall at New Eden, and they're describing their dreams to one another, and it feels like this ritual that goes on. That was another thing. I thought that was going to be a running thing throughout the game, that they would like wake up from resting and like do this after main story points and stuff. I absolutely thought that we were going to get a story about a married couple. And, well, not married, but we did, just not in the way that I was expecting. Another thing that was very powerful to me in the game, I talked at various points about when Red would sleep, Antea would linger. Again, whichever one of the people that's scrolling past here thought of that, executed it, animated it, whatever their intent there was, I talked at one point about that animation really getting inside of my head and really influencing. At one point, I talked about it. There was a whole episode where it was like, it really feels like she's suffering. And then, by the way, not that many episodes later, Antea talks to Red about the fact that she's suffering. I hate this. It is so much energy just to stay here, just to be here, and to hold on to myself. That aspect of the story, it was an example of show, don't tell, and they showed it so well for so long before. I just big shout out to some of the voice actors rolling by here. Just so good. Kate Newsmith and Anne Wings were the same person, everybody. I love voice actors so much. They did a really, really good job of communicating things about Antea's mental and emotional state without having her talk, before they had her talk about it, is what I mean. Because Antea also is very even-keeled in her. They're professionals, they're on the job. And so there's not a lot of examples of them getting emotional with each other, even when they have personal and private conversations. Another thing that really stuck out to me was when we sort of like exited that first area where Red has reconnected with Antea, and they step out of this rather lengthy segment, which is going to be like the main like where the rest of the whole game takes place, and they look up at this giant swirling spirit vortex that is now visible over New Edentown. I just thought that they had a conversation there, and they had a conversation a little bit later about, like, what are we doing? Like, can we really go through with this? It was just all very, very well done from a storytelling perspective. That's on the main story. On the side stories, I was a little bit surprised as we went forward that there weren't very many cases where there was like a complete reversal of what we thought. There wasn't a lot of... There were deceptive characters, but very few examples where the clues are leading you in one direction, and then you learn, like, that last bit of information. It's like, oh, wait, we were wrong the whole time. That's a little bit surprising to me, just because there's so much room to do that. But also, if they had done it too much, it would have come off as like, well, what's the secret twist going to be? So, on the whole, I enjoyed the storytelling quite a bit. I probably could have used a little bit. One thing that was surprising to me, and here's a question. That's one of those things where I started too many sentences at the time. The updates that go into the journal, there were times when they seemed to reflect the dialogue choices that I was making rather than the facts that Red and Antea were actually uncovering. I don't have a specific example of that, but like there would very clearly be evidence that they had uncovered that I thought plainly said that this was an accidental death, but then I would make story choices, like dialogue choices, that didn't seem to like go in that direction, and then it would update the journal, and in the journal it was like, oh, so-and-so died under like sinister circumstances. I wish I could remember a specific example of that, and it's just not coming to mind. But I started to wonder in the back third of the game, are the clues for the haunting cases governed by what dialogue choices that you're making? Is the game basically trying to determine what you think happened and then reinforce that, or are they always the same? And I just thought, I'll say this, if they're dynamic clues that are written to sort of reflect what Red thinks happened, I think that that's really awesome. I said earlier, probably my individual favorite NPC, at least from a haunting case, was probably Anne Wings, just because she was so good-hearted, and then when that dude spit in her face and got her sick, and she wound up... Wow, sorry, just to those who passed during the making of Banishers, that always takes me a second, just because I like it that they recognize. Let's move on. Anne Wings lived and died for the benefit of a man who was just filled with vitriol and bile. Everything about him. He had no love, no care, no patience, no compassion, and ultimately was the cause of her death. And yet, I realized much too late after the fact that taking his life meant that Anne Wing's life and death was valueless. It was all for nothing. And she turned into, like, in my memory at least, one of the tougher fights. Like, we had to track her down at multiple different locations to finally put her down. And it felt really bad in exactly the way that it was supposed to. Anne Wings was a character that if you ask me in 6 months who's Anne Wings, I can't promise one way or the other. Hold on, if we get a post credit, I might have to turn it back up. Hold on, or not at all. Okay, sorry. We will notch it back up here a little bit just for whatever sound is here. The most unpleasant, I don't want this to be like recency bias, but the most unpleasant haunting case was the twins looking after the treasure, just because they were both so awful. Like, they were really despicable people to have to talk to for a while. And that's not me saying that I didn't like the case. It was, boy, I really disliked those people. I talked at various points about like, man, this is really, really hard. Like this case is really hard to decide what to do or how do I feel about this. So rather than trying to remember those specifically, just because it would take me a second to go back, and if I think of them, I'll say something about them. But there were some really good ones in here, and there were some ones that were absolutely like, by the time you got to the end, I was like, the easiest case. Here's the easiest case in the whole one. Do you guys remember? So I'm so bad with names. The woman who runs the store at the Dark Woods camp, I don't remember what like Native American tribe, but she was Native American. It's like Jane. Was it Jane? Jane, whose like whole tribe was attacked with smallpox and then butchered by these hummingbird people. And there's a whole haunting case that involves her like having tracked down all the hummingbirds, like blown up their camp where they were. And at the end, Red gets an opportunity to blame her for like the results of the ghost that's been haunting her. And it's like, I just remember being like, on what planet? Like, again, I would be interested after this is done to actually look up online what that dialogue is like, because even if you were doing the most scumbag of scumbaggy runs, I don't see how you morally get there. Like that was horrible. The other one that was actually really straightforward. Oh, you know what was a good twist? I took it back. Like, there was that one. It was actually one of the earliest cases. Remember the blacksmith who was a terrible blacksmith, and then it turned out it's because he wasn't the blacksmith. There was a piece of information that did sort of like redefine everything that we had learned up to that point. It was this woman had murdered her husband and was now like presenting this complete newbie as her husband to be the town blacksmith, and like none of the blacksmithing around town was getting done properly because this guy sucks. But then you find out, oh, she was getting like really badly beaten by her husband. And suddenly like, oh, yeah, no, well done. Like that was another case that was ultimately very easy to decide. Possibly, no, the Jane one, the one with Jane, the merchant was only slightly harder because I spent a little bit of time trying to work out, was I going to banish or ascend the ghost? And that was another case where reading through all of the material very carefully ultimately led to, okay, no, this guy knew what he did. This guy absolutely knew what he did, and he was willing to look the other way for the money. And then after it was done, he suddenly had a conscience about it. Not enough of a conscience to like feel bad about having all the money, but yeah, then he was like, "Oh my God, you guys are all monsters." It's like, bro, you were there too. So ultimately, that came out as a banishment. The woman with the abusive husband, no, that was much easier, because even dead, the ghost was like a misogynistic piece of shit. Like, that was probably, actually, now that I think about it, the easiest case. I'm honestly trying to think if there was one case that was like especially uninteresting, because I've said so many good things about the game. I'd love to like put it into perspective, but honestly, there were no cases where, oh, I will say this, here's the one that was the most uninteresting, and it was mostly just because it was kind of cryptic to me, was the one that we did, it was fairly recently, about the two women pretending to be sisters so that they can like live alone in love and not have anybody bother them, and they're going to be outwardly very prickly. And the only reason that I would put that as one of probably the least interesting case that comes to mind was that we worked that fact out relatively early, and then it was a lot of looking at the poetry. So please consider this more of like my personal preferences as opposed to like a knock on the game. It's just, I wasn't going to pull anything out of the poetry. You could put trigonometry up on the screen and it means as much to me. I don't dislike poetry, it's just I'm not going to pull any narrative meaning out of it between the two of them. So that case felt like it was probably 50% longer than it needed to be, and if there had been a little bit more meat on that bone, then it would have been something else. But it was like, and I didn't dislike the story. Hey, we're in love. people aren't going to abide that. They're going to pile stones on top of us until we die. So we're going to go live in this cottage way the hell out there. And if anybody comes by, we're going to bicker and fight at them until they go away because we're sisters and we hate each other. When in fact that they were just two women that wanted to be together. That's cool. It was just that's the whole story that I just said. It didn't necessarily take an hour to get there. Carolyn agrees on the poetry. So let me just look at chat real quick because sometimes there'll be more to cover. Just before I do, from a technical perspective, I believe this is the first Unreal Engine 5 game that I played. So draw aside the curtain really quick. We did a lot of tinkering between episodes, especially between episodes like 1 through 7, I'd say, trying to make it look smoother on the stream. I feel like even though the stream was consistently at 60 frames per second, and I can assure you that what's here on the screen was 60 frames per second, the stream going out didn't seem to reflect that with the same fluidity as something like Horizon Forbidden West or give me another game that we played just before this. But I don't know, man, there's just something about this that seemed a little bit resistant to looking as good as it did here. From a technical perspective, this game ran marvelously. I never ever picked up on a frame rate drop or yeah, we had a couple like really minor technical issues. One where a ghost apparently spawned into the world in an inaccessible place. We reloaded, then she was there. There was one other like progression bug that we hit during the boss fight against the gel monster, for example. We reloaded, we did the fight again. It wasn't a big deal. For a game that is otherwise of this quality, I will take bugs like that, one or two, and just like check that they existed. Yes, there were bugs. It's fine. Everything else, I thought the world looked really good. A little bit of pop in, a little bit too close to the camera, and on a few different interactions, a little bit of animation popping, which always bothers me a little bit. It's fine, because I feel like whatever minor visual technical hiccups there were, the quality of the voice acting and the amount of writing, and before we move away from the cases, I loved it. Do you guys remember when we were trying to solve the mystery of which of the two brothers had murdered this guy with all of the money? And one of the things was I wandered off the main track for a while and talked to somebody else, and we picked up on a clue that I don't think is necessarily that you would normally find, where we talked to the blacksmith, oh yeah, one of the two brothers came by with a really damaged knife and asked me to fix it up. Yeah, we talked to the blacksmith that we'd saved his life. There was nothing in the game, I don't think, that pointed us at that clue, but it was there to be found, and it gave me more information about who had done it. I loved that, and it made me wonder how many more of those I might have missed. The world overall reminded me of some of the modern Tomb Raider games, where it's not an open world, but you're in relatively large environments that are just densely packed, where there's lots of little offshoots, lots of roundabouts, lots of verticality sometimes to the level. And it's just one of those games that consistently rewarded your curiosity. Wherever you went, you'd find a haunted doll, you'd find some crafting materials, you'd find a new campfire that you didn't know was there, you'd find a haunted chest. And even if I didn't need very many of those things after a certain point in the game, for the parts of the game that I did, I really liked exploring. Also, the variety of environments. The Dark Woods is visually and even in the color palette and stuff presented very differently from Fort Jericho, from the Harrows, from the swamp. There's 4 main areas in the game, and they feel like different areas, and I like that. Sometimes you get a game where you're traveling around and it either feels too far apart in terms of how they look, or they just feel sort of really samey. My go-to for that remains Assassin's Creed Valhalla, where you're going all across hither and yon England, and it all just sort of feels very much the same. I didn't do the DLCs in that one, so maybe they improved that. Gorgeous game, but you just see a lot of those trees. Jab says, I'm going to say, I hated this game. Me and Angel have very different tastes in games. I don't think I hated the characters in the game so much. And made me want to nuke the place from orbit. And I read Warhammer 40k for fun. Yeah, to each of their own. I really enjoyed it. Princess Casey's going to go do self-care. Princess Casey, if you're still within earshot, I hope you have a great evening. Carolina says, I'd also like to know how many people actually have to blame to get Antea back, because I guess there's an ending where you don't. Yeah, presumably, Carolina, where you try the ritual. If I were to guess, there'd be 3 main endings. Antea comes back. You try to bring Antea back, and she doesn't come back, which I assume would then go into the Ascension ending, but with a different sort of like lead up to it, and then the Ascension ending where, regardless, and by the way, there might be variants on that depending on what oath that you make. Like, maybe you made the oath at first to bring her back, but then you change it later on. There could be some unique dialogue, so there might be a lot of subtle variations, but I'd say the 3 main endings are she comes back, you try, and she doesn't come back. By the way, like, another thing that I was thinking as we were getting here into the finale was, what if Antea is Antea? It's not a fake out. It's really her. It's not a demon or anything else. But again, I don't know Antea very much. I don't know her very well, and I don't necessarily know what she's capable of. What if the final step in the ritual was Antea can come back with the combined power of all of the life energy that Red has collected, and also the life energy of the person performing the ritual? And she just left that part out. Like, what if in her ghostly rage, she wanted to come back so much that she was even willing to take the life of the person who had done it, and it would be this super tragic ending. Like, I'm really glad it didn't go that way, because I feel like that really would have felt very ugly and punitive in the end. But it did occur to me as we were coming up, like, Antea, again, very controlled. I really did like it. I really did like it during the times when they would have these moments by the campfire and like talk to each other. And the one that we got here where she talked about, like, yeah, I do resent you. I am angry. I did die because of you. And it's not that I'm trying to think of how to put this. Basically, she didn't seem unreasonable in what she was saying. It wasn't like, remember, again, the twins that we just did, where the sister was so angry at her brother, he's the reason that I died. It was nothing like that. But it was true from her perspective. And he says, look, I thought you went there without me. It was almost the perfect opposite of what the brother and sister had gone through. That in this case, Antea had died out of an abundance of care and compassion for her, as opposed to like the two of them going their separate ways out of mutual hatred or whatever. Then Carol Luna was agreeing about the poetry was a bit too much. And some games don't like the frames. Yeah, I guess Grumpy's game doesn't like the frames. He broke a frame. Maybe it broke one of the frames in the game that he was playing. Yeah, it was a super minor thing. We did some tweaking, then after a certain point was like, it looks good enough. Literally nobody has ever complained about it, so we're going to let it ride. So, yeah, and I said it at multiple points. The combat always felt good. If you saw me, like, take a rifle shot and I was 80 degrees off the mark, that was me not being responsible with the right stick. Like, it really does. This game, it's one of those games that's really hard to characterize for me on just how good it feels. It's not super tight. It's not like playing like Death's Door or Tunic, where it just feels like you have this like razor sharp control, but it just felt good and fluid, whether it was navigating through the world, going through doorways. You guys know, if you've ever played like a Red Dead game, it always feels like you're controlling a marionette just trying to get like John Marston to walk through a door. This never had anything like that. It just felt super responsive. They did a great job with it. I never said very much about the music. I found the music to be very, very atmospheric. I want to say that there were a couple times when it was just unusually loud relative to the dialogue, but I'd count that on maybe like 3 occasions in the whole game. Not a big deal. On the whole, it really fit the tone of the game. Last couple thoughts. I really loved the lore that they built up for the game. This is, in my opinion, how to do that correctly. There's a world full of mysticism with different factions that research and employ and exploit that mysticism for various purposes. You learn about them through some in-game materials, but ultimately the story is not some giant clash of like ghosts versus demons and the fate of the world hangs in the balance. There's a town full of people that did some really odious crap, and ultimately the 2 Banishers who are primarily motivated by solving Antea's problem. It's a story about human beings, and I feel like that's so much better than the fate of the fate of our plane of existence. The ghosts are coming through and they're going to override all of creation. No, it's basically a highly localized story about this, end of the 17th century town, and the Banishers, who are kind of mixed up in it for reasons that, like, yeah, they are here. They're here to do the job. They're gonna get paid, I suppose, but really they're here because they're looking to solve Antea's problem. So that's their whole scope in it. And I just love the show don't tell of it. The patches of leather that you can see underneath the like Red's rings, because that material cannot touch his skin or else it'll become necrotic. The tattoos that are on Antea's hands, but she specifies at one point through dialogue that the tattoos aren't there and the marks no longer function. They're just an extension of how she remembers herself to be. I think that she shares that with Lammy. Like, just the little details like that. And then, like, the first time that Seeker comes on screen, it's just like, tell me everything, madam. Like, she's got these shin guards that are made out of leaves and her fingers are just completely black, and there's all of these little details that the more that you look at her, the more you learn about what it's like to be a witch in this world. And in the end, we have a full and complete story about Red and Antea and the story of Deborah Cominius and the town of New Eden and the surrounding people and where we feel like we've left them off. But there's still so much more story that can be exposed because, hey, remember Ceridian? Remember the fact that, at least to my eyes, she looked a lot like Seeker, but was like twice her size and 1,000,000 years old, but also seemed to know specific things about Seeker's specific future. I was theorizing for a while that these are somehow the same people. Then old Saul, or whatever his name is, old Mosshead shows up, and there's this entire history going on between the two of them that, like, if there was something in the game to explain that, I never found it. And, like, even Seeker, we find some journals from Seekers, like, I don't even know what that was about. I don't know who that guy was. It opens the door for more stories in this universe, even as I'm concerned that a direct sequel about Red and Antea cannot be. Because what is the canonical ending of the story? I'll say this. If the developers at Don't Nod say, okay, here is canonically what happened, and then they build a sequel about the characters from there, I will accept that even if it's different from my own ending. But it feels more likely to me that they've sort of set the foundation to do a story about demonologists or to do a story about witches in this world and to present this same lore and this same mysticism, this same sort of like supernatural idea, however you want to put it, just from an altogether different perspective. And I think that that would be awesome if they did that. I feel like that's everything that I have to say. Ronan says Rockstar Controls and I are not friends. Rockstar Controls are there's a huge emphasis on animation priority, and in this game I like for sure if you like slow it down, there's going to be all manner of animation popping as Red sort of cancels out of an animation or changes direction. That is, I just big fan. I'm just saying because it feels right. Regardless of what it looks like at 1/3 speed, it feels exactly right. And it's just fun. It's just fun to do that warp teleport punch, to tie down a couple guys with the ensnare ability. You know, like Red's rifle, especially if you can like get that damage bonus for like hitting somebody with the stock of the rifle and then shooting them. Also, let's celebrate one last time that gun animation, the gun reload animation specifically. Really like that. And yeah, I just one last time, the voice acting for Red and Antea specifically, more broadly everybody, but like double A+ to the dude who played Red McCraith. There's a subtlety to his performance where he doesn't, again, he keeps it nice and on the level, such that when he gets a little bit tilted one way or the other, it stands out in a way that's a lot of fun. And by the way, again, really sold that ending. It really sold that ending where everything he's been holding down and pushing down inside all comes out when Antea comes back. That was a beautiful ending. I really like that ending. And I think that's it. I think that's everything I've had to say. I could not qualify this as Don't Nod's best game because, again, the same studio made Life is Strange, and that's a really high bar. I know it's not a bar that everybody would place so high, but I do. This is surely I'd say the second best game that I've played. And I also like Life is Strange too. Like, that's not a popular opinion. But this one it was really, really very well done. And I said it a couple points, but now let's carve it in stone. This succeeded at a lot of the things that Vampire was trying to do. It makes me hope against hope for another Vampire someday, because assuming that the same human beings worked on both projects, they've really refined their craft since then. And I liked Vampire, but as I said at an early point in this playthrough, you could see the scaffolding in the game of like, there was gonna be more to it. And it just, like, that game was in development for a really long time. And I want to say that game, that was the game that was still in development when Life is Strange, the first Life is Strange came out, and was just like, it just was like this huge blockbuster for this otherwise pretty small company. And then they were going to release Vampire, which was just completely different. Not like, I wouldn't say worse, just a completely wildly different game. And it felt like it was being released in the shadow of something that people had really loved. And I don't think that, unfortunately, that timing served it, but you got to put it out someday. And what we got was good. This was great. This really stepped up that same concept and delivered in a way that I think Vampire would have liked to. So yeah, maybe someday we'll get another Vampire. And please help me if it's just supposed to be called Vampire. It's Vampyr, guys. I don't know how to say that. That's it. That is our conclusion for Banishers. On our way out, not only did I not know anything about this game, but I hadn't even heard of this game before it came out. This game came out, I saw a couple reviews, I said, what's that? Don't Nod. And like, yeah, then I wanted to jump on and play it. It is so delightful to just have a game that you had no expectations for, had never heard of, come completely out of the blue, and deliver in the way that this did. So it was just a wonderful time from start to finish, and don't be surprised if we are at least talking some more about Banishers at year's end, when we're going to think back on some of the best games that we played this year, because there's a lot of great games out there, but this one stands out. We're going to call it there. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this complete playthrough of Banishers. The full playthrough will be organized right here on Twitch into a collection so that you can watch all the episodes in the correct order. And I think soon enough over on our YouTube channel, where it will also be put into a playlist. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe and all that stuff. But until then, we're going to go find somebody awesome to raid. Thank you guys for joining me on this journey and for for joining me as I would, sit for a while sometimes at those summation screens and talk through my understanding of the case, what I was going to do, what I wanted to do versus what I thought that Red would want to do, and then making those decisions, because it's kind of the whole reason that a game like this works for me, and I really enjoyed it. That's it. That's everything I've got to say. Let's go find somebody fun to raid, and until next time, you guys, thank you so, so much, and I hope you have a great night.